You're still assessing and evaluating and, finding the areas we need to make the greatest improvement. And, it's got to be that focus and discipline, disappointing, after you watch film, that we left some things out on the field, maybe because of a misassignment. And those are the things and that starts with coaching. Make sure our guys can play fast and know what they need to do each and every play. So for us, it's continuing to clean that up and, become a 4-quarter football team, not a second half team, not a first half team, but to be able to put 4 quarters of football together where you play complementary football, offense, defense, and special teams. So we have yet to hit that, even last year, yet to hit it. And those are the things we go out on a Tuesday morning practice and we're focused on.
What are some of those areas, that you're looking to improve?
Oh, definitely, defensively, tackling, you look at fundamentals, guys continue to improve on tackling, run fits, making sure our run fits, you can tell when a secondary guy makes a mental mistake or makes a mistake because it affects you on the scoreboard. When a defensive linebacker make a mistake, well, you don't really see it. It might have been a 3-yard gain. So those are the things when you come off and you really sit down and evaluate. And guess what? We got to be hard on our kids. There's a certain expectation that we have, with our players, and they know we care for them. They know we love them, but we got to coach them harder. We got to raise the expectations of when you take the field on a Saturday, we got to be ready to go. And offensively, same thing. We got to execute and get the ball downfield. We got to create more explosives. We had opportunities on Saturday to do that. We didn't. So, on Tuesday practice, guess what? That's the focus going in on a Tuesday practice. And we talked that it's inches. How much is an inch worth? Inches in a football game. Footwork, alignment, your responsibility, the angles you take, all those, go into being a successful team on Saturday. And those are the things we're trying to focus on this week, knowing it's the last week before we really get into league play.
You made the point in the past that you'll see the biggest growth from game 1 to game 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I seen our team grow from week 1 to week 2. I did, up front, watching, our offensive line, run protection, pass protection, I thought was a lot better. Defensively, running to the football, tackling, we had a lot of open field. We missed some, and that's where we got to get better. Can't miss them. But seeing some of those open field tackles that we thought were very good running backs. So for me, yeah, you see that improvement. Now we need to take a huge jump. And, how do you do that? I'm still with this team. Man, I love how they play. They play to the edge, that 3rd and 20. They played there. I mean, I stood there and watched that play, knew an accident was going to happen, and it wasn't malicious. Thought there shouldn't be a threat. But that's how we got to get our guys playing. Now, we can become more disciplined in playing our technique, more discipline in playing our gaps, more discipline in our footwork on the offensive line and in our receivers and alignments and route running. If we can get that, I think we could be, our potential is huge. And, those are the things that we're going to continue to work on. The focus got to be on us.
Next week, I'm sure we'll talk about how much more important these games become when they're conference games, but how important is the game before that game to be going in with the right mindset and the right momentum?
I think last year we probably really didn't even discuss, but, when you're sitting there November 20th and you're hoping for a bid into the playoffs, these non-league games are huge. Valpo win didn't help us at all. They lost this past weekend. So, we're playing that new Big South OVC conference. 2 of those teams made the playoffs last year. They just beat St. Francis, who made the playoffs last year. So, yeah, you got to go into these games because guess what? A committee's picking who goes in and who goes out. We got to not only represent Youngstown, represent, our university, but we're also representing our league. So, these games are important at the end because, you got to have a resume. And last year we learned that if you're not ready to play, it'll come back to haunt you, North Dakota game, Missouri State. So to be able to put together 4 quarters of football every week, every week, not taking a week off. Those are the things that you have to do if you want the opportunity to extend your season, because there's only 9 guaranteed games left and there's no redos. Our focus is on Wednesday practice. And if we have a Wednesday practice like we had a Tuesday practice, I'll feel a lot better. Again, practice execution becomes game reality. Our short game passing, I knew it was going to be successful last Wednesday because I was able to see it against our defense in practice. And we got to do that in every facet in our program, special teams, defense, and offense.
When you mentioned the selection committee looking at these games, are you saying that not only do we have to win, we have to be impressive when we win these games, these non-conference games?
Yeah, I don't even know about impressive, but I think you have to win them. You can't, in this of trying to get in. If you beat an FBS, guess what? That measures. I still say to this day, last year, Southern Hill, they beat us on last game of the year. They're probably getting in because they beat Northwestern, because that's what they look at. You get an FBS win, that's huge. So for us, you have to understand that. I don't do too much big picture understanding, but man, when, to leave no doubt, you better understand that every game you play this week is as important game this year that we will have. And you got to go in preparing each and every day, and come 2:00 on Saturday afternoon, our kids better be locked in, disciplined, ready to play a hard fought football game for 4+ quarters.
Does that would have to do with scheduling though too? And I know you don't have a part of that, or you probably have to say, but scheduling too, you said Valparaiso didn't help you. So
I mean, they could, I know they lost this past week.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, but how do you, when you set a schedule 3-4 years in advance, you don't know how teams are going to be and how they're going to play. You don't. So you can't even focus on that. You can focus on what you do. We control what we do. We control each and every week. Officials don't, weather don't. The team in that locker room dictates what we do each and every week, each and every Saturday. And every Saturday is important, because you can learn that, 7 wins isn't good enough. It was good, but you got to be great. And how do you be great? You got to work every week to become great. And that's been the focus. Did we have a great Tuesday practice? Going to go watch the film, going to make the corrections. And tomorrow when we go out on the field Wednesday morning on 3rd down in red zone, we got to have a great Wednesday practice to get us ready for Saturday, no matter who we're playing.
Robert Morris probably has that same attitude coming in.
Yeah.
What can you tell us?
Yeah. Last year they struggled, had games, Miami of Ohio, they played Murray State. They just couldn't get over that hump. They've had a lot of transfers, and sometimes just getting that locker room is the most difficult thing. But the one thing I saw this year with them is when they went with Chickett, their quarterback, the Bethel Park, and they put him in the second half of that Air Force game, I saw a whole completely different team, an inspired team, distributing the football. He's thrown for 78%. They got good wide receivers, and you could see almost a team rally behind him. And they needed a win, and they got a huge win against St. Francis. So, they play in a conference, the Big South OVC. It's kind of a mixture now. And, they get a bid, that league gets a bid, and they could take 2 from that league. When I look at SEMO and Gardner-Webb, those were 2 teams in those 2 separate conferences that played in the playoffs last year. So, they're coming in and they're going to prepare just like we prepare. They know how important this game is on Saturday, and they're going to get their guys ready, and we're going to get our guys ready, and that's why you play the game.
Penalties. I know it's 2 games, you got 17.
Yes. And that's the discipline aspects. And, there's some penalties. The one on the sideline, guess what? I don't even want to hear about, our kids are running, and, I'm, like I said, the minute one spike hit that cement, it was like dominoes. Guys are sliding, wasn't malicious at all. Was a huge part of the game. I think it was 14-7. And, but there, guess what, man? Well, I see our guys running to the football like that on 3rd and 25, but I knew it wasn't going to be a first down. And it's like, you wish I was ready to try to hold up, but I probably would have ended up in the 3rd row. So, for us, we got to clean up, the penalties, and our kids know we go over, sometimes it's selfish. Darian Bowling made we had 3 punts inside the 10-yard line. We would have had 3. I mean, Darian Bowling made a great tackle on Igbuka, and we had a penalty 20 yards away that is completely and that stuff is going to hurt you. That stuff is going to lose you football games. And as much as we emphasize, as much as we want to be as physical and as much as we want to play with great effort, that's where you also got to add football IQ. We got to add that we got to be smart. We got to be disciplined. Those are the areas of growth I need to see most of this team. And, that's what I'm hoping for. But I told you before, I still want them running to that edge. And sometimes when you tell someone, hey, you got to gear it back, they don't even know how to play. So some of them you got to learn by them falling off the edge, and you got to teach and educate to get them. Hey, you went a little bit too far there, but I'd rather try to pull the reins back than try to light a fire any day. And I don't want to be I remember leading the country in penalties at Cincinnati. We won a lot of games leading the country in penalties, but we don't want to do that. We want to be focused. We want to be disciplined. We want to be smart, because in our league, those teams don't make mistakes. And if you want to win football games, you cannot have those critical mistakes in a game.
Has the new rule changed your outlook on getting the ball first?
No, not at all. I really don't. I think I don't. It's a game of football. You get possessions. When you got 2 teams that can possess the football, guess what? It's going to limit your possessions. Okay, I can go into games and see a team running tempo fast, and guess what? They run 3 plays in 30 seconds, and they're punting the ball back, and their defense got 30 seconds rest, and the other offense has the ball. It comes down to, if you're not creating explosives or scoring right away, and both teams are possessing the football, it's going to be that type of football game. How does that change? Well, you defensively, you could be more aggressive. You can create turnovers, so you get the offense back on the field. But for us, we went going into the season with the new clock changes. They said it would change 5 to 6, but people, I know we hear it from other teams, we're losing possessions. Well, some teams are letting that run all the way down, because guess what? They know that it probably frustrates when you don't have those possessions. So I think it's part of the game planning. You watch an NFL game, it's same thing. I mean, your possessions are limited in the NFL, and you better make the most out of possession. And it's not a great thing just to possess the football. We're not happy that we possessed the football for whatever minutes we had on Saturday, because you ultimately got to score points to win football games. So possessing football, yeah, that's great, but you got to score. And the only way you can put a drive together, football is so hard, you got to have explosives. There's not a drive. You're not going to just drive a football 4 yards, 3 yards, cloud of dust in college football anymore. You need an explosive in that drive. We had an explosive with Max Tomczak in the touchdown drive. If you don't get those explosives, you're probably getting to the 40-yard line and you're punting the football, because it's very hard to do that.